Right then, I'm up to issue number 42, and what we have here is the Coleia Greenshade and Calgar Blue. I like that blue actually, it's very fresh blue, very vibrant. I'll have a look at the paints in a little bit anyway, but let's get straight on to the issue then. So, we are really heading towards some, how to paint, how to apply our new paints here. I've actually decided the way that I'm going to paint my orcs is I'm going to use similar colours to this, but I'm going to apply them in a different way. So rather than painting Auric Flesh Shade and then do the Coleia Greenshade over the top, I'm actually going to start with the green shade and then apply the Auric Flesh Shade to get the effect that I want. And there's a reason I want to do that, and hopefully when you see how I do it, you'll kind of, you'll see a different approach using exactly the same paints. I like the fact as well that this Coleia Greenshade gets use on quite a few other models, such as the smokestacks, the squidgy brain on the Tyranids, different kind of effects on the Eldari. Again, I've done my own Chaos Space Marines, so I probably wouldn't need that green shade on them. The other thing that I'm kind of curious about is we get this Calgar Blue, but they don't show you how to use it, which I find quite interesting because it feels like that is a highlight colour for our Ultramarines. So I'm assuming this is going to get used later on, but I'm actually kind of surprised that the Ultramarines, it doesn't kind of show you how to use this as a edge highlight. However, what might happen is they might give us a different colour of blue to do the edge highlighting. It's just strange that we've got this but no explanation of how to use it at this point. Now, this is the kind of stuff we want to hear about. We want to actually understand the orcs themselves, and it's good that they've finally given us some lore on the orcs in this issue. What we seem to have here is potentially the evil sons with their red highlights, but then again they also have the black and white checks of the goths. So these are potentially I think they are still goth orcs on the front there, but obviously we've got the red trims and so on, which it's a nice little effect. Yeah, I think they are goth orcs. It's very difficult sometimes with certain clans of orcs telling them from each other. I am actually doing Death Skulls, and I've started my first tutorial by showing how to do a kind of armor plate on my Mega Nob. Mega boss, war boss in Mega Armor. So I'm going to carry on doing that, and I'm going to show how you can do Death Skull skin colours as well. Now, the skin colour for Death Skulls is a standard oak green, but what you can do is you can they like to wear blue war paint, so I'm going to apply that blue war paint to my actual orcs. Okay, moving on from there, as I said, there's finally a bit of reading to do in this, and I love how it's all about orcs. If you are doing the Goths, this guy here is your main man, Gaskell Mag Uruk Thraka, whose name is a joke on Margaret Thatcher. And that is not even me making that up. He is literally his last name, Maguruk Thraka, literally is a joke. And it's just cool to see that kind of flow going on. I don't think we've really even seen Death Skull paint styles, because we've got the Goths, we've seen Badmean Yellows. We've seen looks like I would probably say these are snake bites. Snake bites are a lot more primitive, less technology, more cavalry. used to actually get boar boys with the orcs, but they've decided to go for squig boys, which kind of makes more sense for 40k. But yeah, so snake bites are primitive. Goths are very martial, like to get up close and personal and fight. I'm doing the Death Skulls, who are a looter clan, very big on stealing technology. You could do Bad Moons in yellow and really, use your... which yellow did we get? Was it Avalon Sunset, I think it was. Yeah, you could do a Bad Moon clan all in yellow. So many options. Evil Sons in red. In fact, we've got pretty much every single colour you need to do orcs. My advice, however, is don't paint them in Baraknar Burgundy, because Baraknar Burgundy is a stealth colour for orcs, and if you paint your orcs purple, they will disappear. In fact, I've got an example of it here. This is an orc I painted in purple, and as you can see, it just works too well. So don't ever paint your orcs in purple, or you won't be able to find them. So just keep that in mind. Technology in the 41st millennium. So orc technology works by cobbling things together and wishing it worked really hard. Human technology works from someone made some technology a very long time ago, and they don't know how it works anymore. They can manufacture it if they've got the plans, but they actually just think you need to pray to them as spirits and lots of other things. There's quite a lot of different attitudes. Whereas the Leagues of Votan technically are human. And they've actually managed to maintain the technology from the Dark Age of the technology, whereas the Imperium just kind of keep hold of it and try and make copies. Of course, you've got Xenotech, like the Necrons, who are the souls of a long dead race moved into living machines. You have things like the Kroot, who are part of the Tau Empire and very low tech. You've got, of course, the Tyranids, who are biotechnology, pure biotechnology. There's loads of fluff in this today. I love how there's so much to read through. You've even got nice little story. Just lots to go. For a paint issue, there's not a lot of painting. And actually, it kind of bothers me that they've given us a paint again and not told us how to use it. It seems to be a big issue at the moment where they give you two paints and only tell you how to use one of them, which is very strange. And I think the reason they're doing that is to give us paints in advance so that we've got them for when we're doing stuff later on. Okay. How to put together battlefields, so different types of battlefields. You've got the kind of very heavily fortified stuff, cityscapes. You know what? You should just have fun. Build whatever the terrain you want. Lay it out how you want. I love thematic games. I love games where you kind of have to take a base. Someone's got almost like the advantage over you, but then you balance it out by letting them take more troops. Just simple things like that to make them thematic games. We've got a combat patrol going with our Dark Zealots by the look of it, which is quite interesting. So we've pretty much got at this. We should have our entire Chaos Space Marines, including the premium kit now. The one thing we don't have is the Harken model. I think basically there's a Chaos Space Marine special character coming up, which is, again, I really like the idea of that. Okay, again, a lot in the play section. There's quite a lot of stuff going on in play on this issue, so a lot of scenario based stuff, so we seem to have two types of scenario in this one, which is quite cool. I like that as well. I like the decision they've made to give us kind of more play. I need to do my play videos, but I'm so far behind now, it's catching up, isn't it? And, just to kind of flick onto the back page for a second, we've got a look of Votan and Orcs. So we've got the Bad Moon Orcs, who are very big on wealth, yellow is the kind of the wealthy, the tech colour. Again, so I think it's always worth asking yourself before you paint your orcs, what clan do I want them to be? Or will you go and be a freebooter clan and just do them whatever colour you feel like? So issue for a paint issue, it's a pretty cool issue. It actually is a cool issue for a paint issue. Far too often paint issues just they do a lot of painting stuff, and then there's not much to read, or and there's not much to do. But actually they've really kind of said, you know what, loads of stuff to read, and loads of different scenarios to play and ways to play in there, which is quite cool. The paints I love. I do have some other green shades, but I like this one. It's very dark. I've got things like Orc Flesh Shade, which is quite a good colour for orcs, as you might guess. But I like how dark this is as a colour. It's really great for getting the recesses. And I'm showing you how I can use that when I do issue number 43. The Calgar Blue. I am glad this has come, actually, because I am about to paint a Tomb King's army, and I'm going to use those two combinations for the Tomb Kings. I think that's going to look absolutely gorgeous when it's done. So yeah, I really like the paints as well. I have neither of these paints, oddly enough, so it's great that I've actually got paints now that I haven't already got. It gives me a bit of variety. So there we go. Let's move. Combat Patrol's done. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.